This is my brother's 2015 Chevy Tahoe, and like so many other people with this generation of Tahoe with the 6L80E transmission have experienced, it's got a blown transmission. Not only that, Drew, I love you, but I'm pretty sure that he blew up the transmission and kept driving, because what it's currently doing is just absolutely neutral bombing. It doesn't go over 30, and if you try, it's got like 3 neutral gears now. It's really sketchy to drive. So we are going to help him over here at the shop where I work, swap out his 6L80E transmission, and hear all of the changes that we're making along the way to make this transmission non-problematic in the future, I hope. If you follow my channel at all, you know that I'm usually working on a Lotus. This is my Lotus lease, and I also have a Lotus Evora that I bought last year and put a new engine in. So it's been quite a while since I worked on a GM car. Luckily, our team here at Whoops is very familiar with the 6L80E transmission, so they are going to help me along with the whole process and make sure that I don't ruin my brother's transmission a second time. Brian doesn't like to be on camera, so I'm going to try and not show him. It's not because I'm pretending that he's not doing a majority of the work, it's because he just really prefers to not be on camera. So here we go, here are all the changes. To get started, I will drop the part numbers in the description below in case this video can help someone in the future. This is a 6L80E transmission. My friend Bill over at Stickies, they do some really insane LS swaps and LS builds over in their shop. Helped me source this part from a junkyard. It is a lower mileage, came out of a running car. As you can tell, no torque converter. We were missing a ton of the bolts. There was actually no filter in the oil pan, but when we looked in the oil pan, there was like a pretty reasonable amount of clutch material. This is not a brand new transmission, obviously, because a new or a rebuilt transmission was going to be a few grand, and this is what we happen to have, so this is what we're going with. It's worth saying, if you're like me and you're not super familiar with automatic transmissions, because I only really work on manuals, this is upside down, so this is actually what's on the other side of the oil pan here. Over here is the first change that we're going to make. This change is going to be free. This is where the thermal bypass valve connects. Essentially what happens is when your transmission gets up to temp, and I was told this by several GM engineers, so I trust that they're giving me good information. When your transmission gets up to temp, it opens the thermal bypass valve, which allows cooling to run through the transmission. The only thing that they recommended I do here is take out the spring inside of the thermal bypass valve, flip it around so it's got a constant flow, put it right back into the housing and install it as is. Like I said, this is 100% free. You don't need to buy a new part. You don't need to do any other changes. Just flip it around. It fits right in the housing like that. And this will prevent the transmission from overheating because it will constantly have cooling available. And there are no downsides to doing this. This will not damage your transmission in any way. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it, but this is a great solution, and he said they recommend this change on 100% of the 6L80Es. So even if you're not swapping out your transmission, if you have this transmission or this Tahoe, they do recommend doing this. So go ahead and go out and do that. It's super easy. You don't have to pull the transmission. It's just right here on the side of the bell housing. Here is the gasket that came off of this oil pan. I already bought a new one just because I was already in there. So one thing, when you get an oil pan or really any type of major mechanical component that has fluid in it from the junkyard, they are legally required to empty and drain all of the fluid out. This just is a little bit of residual fluid, but you'll see they actually drilled a hole in it there. This oil pan is no longer usable. Make sure that you go over your oil pans, both in your engines, transmissions, differentials, anything, because they're trying to get these in and out as quickly as possible. They typically just drain a hole in it, drain it out, call it a day. So we are going to use the other oil pan off of his car. The other failure point on these transmissions is going to be the torque converter. So we are going to pull out the torque converter, and instead of replacing it with a 2015 Chevy Tahoe torque converter, this is a torque converter out of a 2014 Cadillac CTS-V. I honestly could not tell you what the difference is. I was just told that this is a torque converter that we needed. It is a $200 core charge from O'Reilly's if you haven't pulled it out, which obviously I haven't because it's not on the lift, but this is the part in all of its glory, and this sits inside of that empty bell housing you saw. The last things that we need for this swap, obviously, we need our ATF to refill the transmission, the gasket, because if I'm in there, I'm just gonna go ahead and replace the gasket. This was probably like $20 if I had to guess without looking. It's worth doing it while I'm in there. And of course, you wanna make sure that you get a brand new filter and everything in there actually. Out. So nice. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I will drop all of the part numbers to everything that I ordered down in the description below. I hope this video can help someone, and in the next video we're actually going to pull the transmission out, and I was told this is actually a fairly easy process, and obviously because we have the lifts and the equipment to do it, it'll be a lot easier for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this isn't my typical Lotus or exotic car content, but I hope that you guys appreciate a little bit of GM content, and most importantly, I hope this video can help someone in the future, because this is such a common problem, and I know so many people that have just gotten raked over the coals just trying to get their Tahoe back on the road. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and they're not super big on YouTube, but if you head over to the Whoops channel, which I'll also put down in the comment section below, and give them a like for all of their help. And thanks again to O'Reilly's for getting me the parts. They're not sponsoring me, but I still really appreciate. I got all of the parts I needed in under 24 hours, and that's sick because I'm excited to get my transmission back to my brother and his family.